On today's Chasing the Game, we have Matt Melzak. We talk about his career in broadcasting, taking over as the voice of the Mud-hens ahead of opening day. Chasing the Game starts right now. All right, welcome into Chasing the Game. I'm here with the voice of the Walleye and the new voice of the Toledo Mud-hens, Matt Melzak. Matt, thank you so much for coming in and doing this. We really appreciate it. We're less than 48 hours out from opening day. Just emotionally, how are you feeling right now? Nervous, excited?
I think a little bit of both. I think you can't not be. I mean, it's exciting. I can't believe it's here. You know, that start of a new season, those opening day jitters. Is everything going to go right? Is everything going to work right? Am I going to, make sure everything is said properly to start off a season? And the extra emotion of not having Jim there when it was supposed to be his 50th year and Jim Weber. So there's going to be a little bit of extra emotion. I think it's going to be a little tough to start that broadcast coming up on Friday. Yeah, this is obviously not your first rodeo with an opening day, especially now with Toledo. You've been around Toledo your entire life. Take me through your career resume. How long have you been doing broadcasting? Boy, I've been doing broadcasting. Let's see, this would be probably the 22nd year of it. 2025 would be, 21st season, I guess, if you look at it in that aspect. But we did lose the COVID year, so. But yeah, it's still, it's a lot. It's been a long time, going back to my Toledo Storm days, starting in 2003. So yeah, it's been a lot of years that have started to accumulate a little bit and build up, but an exciting time nonetheless. And, even thinking about all of those games now, and it's 2,300, pretty close to at this point, combined with the two sports, that, you think back and you go, man, that ends up being a lot of games. And then I think about, the fact that I just worked with a guy in Jim Weber who was at 6,300. Right. So, I feel like I've done a lot of games. Think about that for a moment. But I guess it puts it in perspective, though, that, how long you've been able to go and how blessed I've been to be able to do something that I love in my hometown for as long as I have. Yeah, you started in 2003. How old were you at the time? Because you're a relatively young guy. I was 25 at the time. So, that's pretty young. Yeah. And to think about the fact that, oh man, I was actually really young when I got started, which was great. Yeah. How did you get connected with the Storm? How did you get that job? So what ended up happening was the years prior, I was doing a hockey show with Mike Miller, former play-by-play voice of the New Jersey Devils. He's from Temperance. And he started doing a local hockey show here. Even when he was doing the games for New Jersey, he continued to do a local hockey show, and I kind of got hooked onto that over at the old 1470 The Ticket at the time, and got to know him very well. He's been a great mentor for me over the years, and I started working with him. Then he came back to take over as a GM of the Storm, and it gave me a little bit of a leg up. Now I went through the process. Still did, at the time, I'd done Bowling Green hockey, so I had some tape, at least, and some resume, and he felt like, you know what, I think I can mold and help you along the way, Matt, and he certainly did. Those times, I had times where he and I, on Mondays, after a weekend of game, we would sit down in his office at like 10 a.m. to 11 a.m., and we'd just go through some tape. And he would go, okay, why were you going there with this? Where were you trying to take this? Why was your call of that this way? And we would go through and, hey, a better way to say it would be this. And, and I would be sitting there just jotting stuff down. And that time was so invaluable to me, just to have somebody that was kind of breaking down my games and my calls that was at the National Hockey League level. And it made me better fast. And it really allowed me to develop into my own person and my own broadcaster and have my own style, but yet still have someone that is overseeing how I was developing. And I can't thank Mike Miller enough for that. Yeah, you were the voice of the Storm from 2003 until they stopped in 2007. Yep. We have a clip of you this is January of 2007. Okay. This is a story about the Martin Luther King Bridge, I believe, being closed for temporary. I don't know if you remember this, but let's roll that clip of you. This is really quick, you from 2007. Okay.
The King Bridge is expected to reopen tomorrow morning at around 10, so this won't interfere with the Friday night dinner business at the docks or the Storm hockey game.
It's unfortunate that they do need to do the work, but they do have to do it. And we're happy that the city is looking out for us in that regard, and certainly looking forward to having all of our fans down here again tomorrow night.
Toledoans we caught up with today are frustrated the King Bridge repairs are taking so long.
So that was 2007. Did that throw you for a loop? Did you know that story had aired?
I mean, I probably did at the time. I couldn't tell you if I remember that now, but I certainly look at the video there and I remember that guy. He was definitely a little bit different, no facial hair at that time. It was very interesting times back there. I mean, I loved calling games at the old sports arena. Yeah. I mean, it was really, if you couldn't call a game at the sports arena, you were not going to be a broadcaster, period, because you were hanging over the ice. I mean, all you had to do was basically lean out. You got the players going right by you. I mean, it was as easy as it could get for a young broadcaster to develop, and it was a great building. When it was packed, it was fun. Just the atmosphere was great at all times. But obviously the building itself, it needed an upgrade. And now think back to there, and I'm like, boy, yeah, there were some good memories there. But how cool is the Huntington Center and the fact that we've got that gem, comparatively speaking, to the old sports arena?
Absolutely. And now you've had this history with Toledo in the sense that Toledo Sports, T-Sports, you were a part of that too. What's kind of your memories of those years when BCSN was a part of WTOL 11? I mean, this is going back 15 plus years.
Yeah. I was there. I was doing games for them with the merger, and I would do some football games, of course, because we would have that opportunity in August and September. And even in between the two, when the storm went dark and we had that going off into, the walleye time, there was a couple years there where I got to do full playoff runs for football. And I really enjoyed that time. It was a lot of fun, and obviously doing, some great interviews there and, jumping on. These are some great videos right here, man.
Yeah, we went way back into the
archives here.
Absolutely.
This was a lot of fun, and I had Mike Jewell. He was awesome to work with, and what a jewel he really is. Yeah. I mean, he lives up to that last name of his. We had some great times and some good runs. You think back to Southview made the state tournament run that we got to call a lot of games, and here we go, right at the beginning of the Huntington Center days with Nick Fatusi and just getting that thing rolling and kind of seeing that come off the ground and knowing that I was going to be a part of starting that franchise and have basically called almost every game that's been in the Walleye existence. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, so let's talk about that. I mean, you came in for the very beginning of the Walleye franchise. You've basically been there from the birth of it. What is it like to be a part of a franchise like that? The Walleye have got to be different than just about any other franchise I know.
It is really, it is. It's A+. It's first class from top to bottom. Everything they do is let's make sure the fans enjoy the experience. Let's make sure that everyone's taken care of properly. They are a terrific organization, so well run. I think there's a reason why it has been so successful. And you look at how successful the mud-hens have been for so many years. Now you look at how successful the walleye are. I mean, when was the last time, you got to think about it, the last time they didn't have a sellout.
Right.
For the Toledo Walleye, and you've been there a number of times covering games, and the atmosphere in there is unbelievable. It's second to none. And I do travel on the road, with the Walleye, and I see the other buildings, and I'm like, man, there's just nothing like the Toledo fan base and the Huntington Center. And to be thinking back to the fact that I basically called just about every game. I mean, pretty close anyway. That's really a privilege, and some of the great times that we've had, the couple of Kelly Cup runs, made it to the finals a couple of times, just haven't gotten over that hump to winning it, but man, it's just been fun.
Yeah. Was there ever a point where you thought that maybe, you'd be done with the Walleye, you'd move on to some other job, some bigger gig? Did that ever, any opportunity ever approach you like that?
I mean, there's always opportunities, and, there's always times where you've looked at other jobs or, moving up to the next level, interviews that have taken place over the years. But I mean, this is home for me, and I love being in Toledo. My wife's from here. We now have a daughter. We got another one on the way. So I mean, our family's still growing, and it's it's kind of hard to envision myself moving on. I mean, you never close the door on anything. You never say, okay, I'm done. I'm not ever going to move on. If there is an opportunity there and it's something that works for me and my family, we'll look at it. But this is home, and this is great to be at.
Yeah, Kendall Linnenkugel, someone you call a lot of games with in the last few years. What's it like working with her? She's obviously someone, I went to school with her at BGSU. You know, we're both going to journalism school together. So to see her obviously in that position is very cool. What's it like working with her like that?
I love the growth that she has gone through as an analyst. I mean, from her start, and obviously she did some Bowling Green games, so it's not like she was completely raw and new to this, but watching her develop into the broadcaster that she is becoming has been quite a joy. She's so receptive on things to make her get better. Yeah. She wants to get better. She has that drive to be better. And you could see it in each and every game. And, you know, when she comes in and she's ready, she's always there early. I mean, you know, it's funny, you know, most people I say, hey, you know, if you're there an hour before, we can kind of go over stuff, you know, You've got your notes, you've got prepped and prepared, but she's there like 2 hours early. She's highlighted everything. She is so focused on, I know where I need to go with everything. It really has been fun to watch her and help her develop to where she is now.
Yeah, it's been incredible to watch. I want to talk about the mud-hens. You came in here with a mud-hen shirt.
I did go mud-hen shirt. I didn't know where to go, really.
We're in two great seasons right now because we got the Walleye are obviously doing well, as always. Mud-hens, again, 48 hours away from opening day. What's it like preparing for opening day?
You know, it is a different it's a different sport. I mean, I'm so used to the go of hockey, and now I'm going to go into the baseball where you have that action time is less, and there's more time to develop the story of a player. What have they done over their career? Where are they at in their career? Where are they going? Where are they heading? Where's their hometown from? There's so many things that gets harder to drop in hockey. But you got the time in baseball, and it makes it fun. So I love the research. I love the numbers of baseball. I love the game itself. So I am so looking forward to bringing that out in Toledo.
How did you get involved with them, too? Because that was something that obviously came later. I mean, you weren't always a baseball guy. So you started, what, in 2010 with them?
I started with the Walleye in 2009. Right. But, yeah, my first time going behind the mic for baseball was in 2010. And it started, Jason Griffin was doing the games at that time with Jim Weber. And part of why they wanted to bring me in is because that way he could get a little bit of some summertime break. Yeah. So according to the deal that we signed was that I was going to do 20 games for him during the summer. So I would get my feet wet in baseball. And then he moved on in 2012, and they said, you know, Matt, and they asked Jim, would you like to work with Matt full time? And he said, absolutely. I love working with Matt. Let's do it. Yeah. And then they asked me, would you want to do the home games with Jim? And he'll do all the road games, but you can do the home games with him. I said, absolutely, 100%. You know, I still remember when they brought me in, they actually had separate broadcasts at that time. And they said, hey, you know, when in the middle 3 innings, Jim's going to come in and do the game with you. And I was just excited. I'm like, oh, my God, Jim Weber here, you know, I mean, I grew up listening to this guy calling games, you know, and popping into the net, and you know, you'd listen to some games and you'd leave and you're throwing on the radio and listen to the end of the game, you know, as a kid. And here now I get a chance to sit in the booth with him and get to know him, and have gotten to know him so well over the years that he and I developed a really great friendship. And you know, so much so that I would look forward to seeing him that first game for opening day. But we got to the point where we're seeing each other at least a couple times a month anyway, even in the off season. So it was a little bit different once we got to that level. We just developed such a great friendship that, you know, I mean, it really struck a note when he passed away.
Yeah. What was it like? What was it like in the building? You know, after he passed, what was that time like? You guys went on that little win streak there, but what were those weeks like at the end of the season when he's not there? That's got to be weird.
It was really. There were some nights where it was kind of hard because I would think about, you know, a play would happen and it would hit me as something that Jim would say in that, and just an off the wall comment, or the way he would kind of. I'm trying to think of the right word because he was so folksy, I think, you know, with the way he called the game, and he just brought you into the broadcast, that, you know, something would happen on the field and I would think, oh, you know what, that would be something that Weber would talk about and he would focus on. a bird landing on the wire. He would talk about the bird for 2 innings. I mean, if they showed it, he's talking about it on TV. So, I mean, you would see that and it would just hit you like, oh man, And even that first game when we went to the home, because he passed away when the team was on the road. So then I just picked up and did, the remote broadcast for that, the rest of that series. And that first Tuesday night when we got down there, and it was so hard to say, okay, now I'm taking on the lead role here, and I probably need to move out of, and I was like, do I sit in Jim's seat? Do I not? There were just so many of those little things that, you really wouldn't think about except for the fact that you have to. I mean, where do you go? Our booth's only so big, and it's just those things that, this guy's a Hall of Famer. Mm-hmm. And how do I replace that? How do I keep going on my style? Do I incorporate a little bit of what he did? Or do I just be me? And I think Jim would have always wanted me to just be me. He would just say, just be you, just go, And so that's what I did, but it was hard. It was very emotional, that first pregame show. I couldn't stop with the crying because I was like, I just missed him. It just wasn't right. Yeah. It didn't feel right.
Do you feel emotionally that you're ready to take that on this season for the full season?
I think so. I'm a little nervous, and I'm going to be a little emotional on opening day on Friday. That I feel like, oh man, is it going to hit me when I'm going to welcome in this season? I know the 50th year for him, which is what this would have been special for him, and he had a target of that, and he was going to get that 50th year, and because nobody does 50 years. Yeah. Nobody. I don't think I have a shot at doing 50 years, but nobody is going to do 50 years, and he was bound and determined to do 50 years, and unfortunately came up a little bit short. If we didn't have the pandemic last year, it would have been the 50th. So, it's a little bit sad. It's going to be a little bit bittersweet there on Friday, but man, I'm so looking forward to getting the baseball season underway and seeing all the guys out there the last couple of days and getting ready to go for it, and everybody's there now. And that's exciting, and the season starting is always exciting.
Yeah, what's that going to be like these months where you're balancing hockey and baseball at the same time? I mean, it was busy enough, you're just in that play-by-play commentary role. Now you're having to be the head guy of both. What's that going to be like?
It's going to be an interesting schedule, Chase, because I'm going to go, I could be doing, one night I'm going to do hockey. Then the next time I'm going to do baseball, then hockey, then baseball, or, I think you look at maybe my first week of April where I'm going to go hockey, baseball, hockey, baseball. And, I just got to figure out what side of the brain I'm using. Am I using the right side for hockey? Am I using the left side for baseball? What do we got? Yeah. It's just a matter of, figuring that part out. But I'm so looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to the challenge and doing something that, that I know of hasn't been done here in Toledo, and that's to be the voice of both teams. And I can't wait to get started.
Yeah. Last thing, what can people expect on the field? What can people expect in the broadcast? What are people going to see Friday?
I think they're going to enjoy it. I think they're going to enjoy the team. I think when you look, and even as recent as Jason Foley being sent to Toledo is going to add to the mud-hens group. I think they're going to have a good team to start the year. Hopefully that stays, because that means the Tigers are healthy. If they struggle with injuries, it could struggle a little bit. I think on the broadcast side, we're going to change things up. It's going to look a little more like the Walleye side, because we're going to have some great guys in the booth with me. Colin Ballister, who threw for the Hens in the 2010s. He came in and did a game or two last year, and he's going to jump in and do some games. Ron Reitner threw for the Hens in the early 90s. Tom Reynolds, former Major League manager, is going to be in our broadcast booth. Bruce Johnson, who played college baseball, is going to be in the group. So it is going to be a good group. Brad Woznicki will be helping me out with the play-by-play side of things. It's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to get to hear some great stories from those guys, and they can call the game as well.
Absolutely. Matt Melzak, thank you so much. Appreciate
Thanks,
the
Chase.
time. All right. Well, that's going to do it for this episode of Chasing the Game. Be sure to check out all of our other episodes on the WTOL 11 Plus app. We're also on YouTube and Spotify. We will see you guys next time.